Hey y'all, welcome back to the ranch. I'm Jared Paul, and it has been an extremely busy week. It's been Franny's first week back in New York City, so we've been commuting her back and forth for this week and next week until October 1st as like a 2-week quarantine tester to see if New York City is ready to bring her ballet company back, and if so, then we'll be moving her back October 1st. But in the meantime, it's been extremely busy trying to fit in work before and after the commuting in and out. It's been a lot of fun, and it's very exciting that possibly normalcy is around the corner, but at the same time stressful, and it hasn't really left much time for Bonsai. We did have a cold snap this week. It's hard to believe because today's in the 80s, but it got down to about 34 degrees Fahrenheit, and so it really got me thinking about winterization. So I wanted to discuss that with you today. And at the end of the video, I'm going to give you a little Central Park tree tour. Laura and I, we take social distancing very seriously. So when we actually do leave the ranch, we avoid people at all costs. So what's better than hitting the biggest park in New York City with some old, beautiful, rare trees? And they label a lot of the really awesome ones. So that that helps me figure it out, like a plane tree I had never heard of, and they're absolutely gorgeous. Their trunks are almost like a sycamore, and you'll see them coming up on today's episode of Jarhead Bonsai. Okay, so looking around on my deck, you can see I have a great mixture of some deciduous conifers, like the redwoods, and then I have some deciduous trees like these alcovas and yellowwoods and figs. I mean, I just have an absolute ton of trees, tons of maples, hickories, ash, birches, and then I have my hardier trees like my blue spruce, Pinus aristatas, white pines, Japanese black pines. So if you're new to bonsai, or if you've been doing it for a while, I'm sure the struggle is real. Each year brings its own challenges and what you're going to decide to do. Here's some nice black locusts. What you're going to decide to do when the temperatures drop. Are you going to bring them inside? Are you going to let them overwinter outside? Are you going to have them protected? What are you going to do? So I had the opportunity to discuss it out with my consigliere, my broski Ian at Back Garden Bonsai. I pretty much reference him in any new changes or something that I failed in before, because we talk it out and he explains it to me, and then I don't have to look it up myself. What's better than that? So I've already pulled in my tropicals because it did dip down enough where it's just not safe for them. So they'll remain in the main floor of my house. But what to do with the remainder of my trees? So since I'm in the northwest corner of Connecticut and it does get quite chilly, I decided that I'm going to take like maples and birches and zelkovas and my deciduous trees, and I'll bring them down to the basement greenhouse, which last year I put them under grow lights instead of just letting them go into dormancy. I don't know what I was thinking. I should have let them take that long nap. That's really important for these trees. So I'll bring you down there after this. First, I wanted to show you where I'm going to set up for my hardier trees, my pines, my spruces, and things of that nature. So it's actually, here's some of my trident maples going by. Some wisteria, ash, some maples, baby pines. Anyways, where I have my tomatoes here and where I have my paddle boards here, I'm going to set up 2 areas. First, layering the ground with about 8 inches of that bark mulch over there, as to keep it off of the frozen ground. I don't want it in contact with the frozen ground. I want it on top of the mulch. And then I'm actually going to surround the pots completely in that same mulch. Okay, so I believe that'll not only provide a warmth layer, it'll protect them from the wind, from drying out. And since I have a lot of terracotta pots, the wind can dry those out rather quickly. So they're going to be going there. And then I may cover them with some sort of clear plastic and attach that right to the garage and right to the deck, and then stake it to the ground. So it's almost like, you know, they're protected from the extreme winds and extreme colds. And then when I feel like they need to be watered, because it's important to keep them watered, even though, you know, they're outside and it's winter. If you're not getting a lot of snow and stuff like that, they could still dry out and die. That's the way it's been explained to me. So this is going to be that area for that. The paddle boards will go down in the basement. So there'll be a nice section here. And then those tomato pots will obviously won't have tomatoes in them anymore. And I'll have some nice room there. That'll give them nice wind block because it gets quite windy up here. And I think it'll allow enough sun to get in there. So it'll take like that terrible, hard cold out of, you know, the what would be naturally hitting them. So it gives them all a larger chance to survive because, you know, my trees are predominantly young. I don't have that many Amadores. I'd say probably my oldest trees are about 5 years old, but the majority are 2 to 3 year old seedlings that I did grow from seed. So they're in smaller pots already and they're near and dear to my heart. So I just don't want to lose any of them. So that's going to be the plan for like my pines and such as discussed. So let's take a trip downstairs. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, the Christmas tree is shaping up nicely, our Norfolk pine. Heading down, I got my homegrown garlic dried out. It comes in way handy just having it on hand, and it's so much more delicious than the grocery store, but I never seem to grow enough, so next year I'm going to quadruple that. So at first I was thinking I might stack some on these shelves, and the idea is, okay, a little light comes in from the windows, but I'm not going to have the full spectrum grow lights I did last year. I think I kept some of the trees too active the entire time, and then the other trees I just scorched, like the pines and such like that. They just got way too much light, and you know, they should have been outside getting that deep cold and going into dormancy, getting the amount of light that's proper in the winter. Sometimes I'd forget to turn out the grow lights. It was just totally my fault. So one change that happened over the year is Laura started a little wood refurbishing business. So just for fun for right now, but we got it all nice and organized and set up. Actually, I can't even take credit. She's got it all nice and organized and set up. She got these pretty cool lights. If I could, maybe you can see the one over there. No. Anyways, they almost look like ceiling fans. And they cast a really natural, even light over the room. So instead of it being a dim basement with like a few lights here and there, it's really well lit down here. We have the humidifier going and a fan, circulating fan. So it really has cleaned up the air quality and the feel of this room nicely. So you see here, she made a couple of shelves for a friend. She's still gonna put some hooks down here for clothing, for hanging. This friend has a 2-year-old daughter and just had a newborn baby girl. So she refurbished a couple of shelves in some wacky psychedelic style for them. I think that's going to be really nice and cool. And all the furniture that I find on the side of the street that I think is hardy and redoable, I just bring home to her. Because if it's free, it's for me. I mean, look at this piece. That right there, that's going to be our new flat screen, like TV center table. Even this one over here, I shouldn't use that hand. But it's a fully working refrigerator. And I mean, they probably just threw it out because it was like dilapidated, but she could do some badass work with that nice wood there. So you see, I had the mats down last year because my buddy Trevor up in Canada said, make sure you don't have the pots on the ground. You know, the roots don't like the cold. So I really appreciated that, Trevor, and that aspect did work. So this is going to be the only section probably that I'll use this year because I'll only be bringing down those deciduous as I spoke of. So I'll put them down here. You see, they'll get some natural light during the day, but otherwise they'll be allowed to go into dormancy. They'll drop into the 40s, which Ian said is the perfect temperature for them to be consistently sleeping. And then Laura gave me a little setup here if I want to start some seedlings. I've got my grow light with my seed mat. It's a little darker over here, but you get the picture. So it's nice and organized, cleaned out. She did that all last weekend while I sat on my ass and watched soccer and football. I love that girl. She has unlimited energy, and some days I just need to totally shut off. So she doesn't give me shit. She just finds something to do. So yeah, that's going to be the downstairs basement greenhouse, if you want to call it that, this year. I'm really excited about it, to have my work next to her work. She finally left that corporate job, if you've been following this channel, and it's been it's been a little hectic getting back to school and things like that, but it's been a lot of fun as well. So anyways, I'm going to stop talking because I'm way too long-winded. So that's going to do it for today's episode of Jarhead Bonsai. But following this, you'll really enjoy, I believe, some video that I'm going to mute out, set to music of New York City's Central Park in the beginning of autumn. So that's going to do it for today's episode of Jarhead Bonsai, guys. I'm Jared Paul. If you did like today's video, please like and subscribe to let me know that you do. And there's plenty more to come from the ranch. Cheers.